Today we're talking tariffs, Tony Hawk, Gears of War, and Nintendo ranking the lowest they ever have. So good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Hey, a new game got announced that's coming to Switch, and this one is legit, official, no rumors, no leaks, so it is a good day. And I hope you're all doing fantastic out there. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. We're kicking it off with tariff talk. Try not to bring too much of this into the channel. It's everywhere, but this is interesting coming from Matt Piscatella, who is an industry analyst that I do trust very well. Very small piece of all of this, but it wouldn't surprise me to see physical games that would be subject to tariffs simply not get made, with pubs moving to an all-digital strategy. What a mess. Now this is interesting, although maybe just the way things are headed regardless. An all-digital future is something that's been in discussion for what feels like 2 decades now, and we're definitely moving closer than ever before. Game sales are all tilting in the direction of digital, but I know a lot of you like to have your Switch games on the shelf. You like to have that cartridge, you like to taste it, you like to see your collection in front of you. And while I do think there will still be an opportunity for that, I agree with Matt that this is a easy opportunity for companies and publishers to start dwindling the amount of physical versions they make and start relying more and more and more, even more than already, on digital sales. Now, earlier this year, Furukawa said that predicting various geopolitical risks and establishing ways to respond is something that Nintendo is doing in response to tariffs. And as those continue to escalate, which they probably will, we'll see how it affects Nintendo and the Switch 2. Could it be something that does boost the price of the Switch 2? I don't think so. I think what Matt is saying is more what would happen in terms of like physical games, especially from smaller publishers or ones that are subject to tariffs, just wouldn't get made. Go get it digitally. It makes the company more money, it makes the developer more money, and ultimately it might even be cheaper for us, the consumer. I'd say the only issue is like less sales, but there's tons of digital sales in the great year of 2025. So the only issue would then be your shelf space, which, hey, sometimes it's not too bad to clear out clutter and have less things. So maybe this isn't so bad after all. What's definitely good though is Tony Hawk coming to Nintendo Switch. This is THPS 3+4 getting a remaster for a bunch of platforms, including Nintendo Switch, dropping on July 11th. This one was teased a little bit, and then now it's official. It's a $50 package on Switch with a mandatory download, which, you know, bah humbug, but it is the Switch, an 8-year-old console. The good news is by July 11th, that Switch 2 should be out, and therefore you could play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 on the Switch 2, where maybe it wouldn't require a download. You can get Doom Slayer and The Revenant if you get the Digital Deluxe Edition. It does look like a pretty fun return to what I'd say is the best era of Tony Hawk and the ones that I enjoyed very much on my Nintendo consoles. As a matter of fact, GBA Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 at launch was probably the best experience with a skating game that I ever had, but it could be fun to give these a go. The Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 remaster was really well done, so this looks like it could be quite nice. There's a brand new level called Water Park, which I love me some water parks in real life, and I think any sort of amusement park, theme park, water park level in a game is just chef's kiss, so I am hyped for this. Hopefully we play it on Switch 2. Hopefully there's no mandatory download. Now, another game you could be playing on Switch 2 is the Gears of War collection. We know Microsoft cares a lot about Nintendo. We know Microsoft cares a lot about spreading their IP. They just, you know, it's like those leaves off of trees, or those little, the helicopters, you blow them and they just go far away and they plant a tree far away. Xbox goes far away, and it looks like Gears of War collection is already loaded onto the PlayStation storefront on the back end. Now, this is a leak. They're saying that the Gears of War collection should be releasing in early to mid-August. It is PS5 Pro enhanced, but I have been told no multiplayer PvP, campaign focus only. So it's probably Gears of War 1, 2, 3, and maybe that side story, what's that one called? Judgment? Gears of War Judgment, yes. So this would be, in my opinion, an amazing launch window game for Nintendo Switch 2. Like, let's show them that Nintendo Switch 2 is going crazy, and this is the era of anything is possible by having Mario and Marcus on the same console within a few months of each other. In August, launch does allow for Nintendo to get this game, and I have to imagine that a Gears of War collection can easily run on the Switch 2, and Microsoft, if they're giving it to PlayStation, why not give it to Nintendo? They've shown ample evidence that they love the Switch, that they want to put their games like Grounded and Pentiment on Switch. There's been some that they haven't yet announced for Switch, things like Forza Horizon 5, and obviously this Gears of War collection hasn't been announced for anything, but I have a feeling that anything that's coming to PS5 should also come to Nintendo Switch, barring some exclusive deal, but I don't know if they'll even do an exclusive deal between Microsoft and between PlayStation. That seems sort of silly. Ecstasis, who we've used before as a pretty reliable leaker, says that there will be all 3 games day one on PS5, the Gears collection. This is from a month ago. He hasn't said anything about a Switch version. He hasn't heard anything, rather, about a Switch version. But they're saying that it should be cross-platform on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. And then today we have the new leaks kind of cementing that this is already in the PlayStation Store backend. And crossplay would be for co-op, right? Not for multiplayer, because they're saying no PvP in this package. It better come to Switch. I think this is going to be a great, earmark, right? Look at the Gears of War collection. This is a very prominent game that should be ported to both platforms equally. It should be going to PlayStation, and it should be going to Nintendo Switch 2 at the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct in less than a month's freaking time. Will Microsoft have a segment? We had a nice segment back in the day for 2K where they revealed BioShock, Borderlands, and XCOM coming to Switch. Can we do a super snazzy Microsoft thing where it's you're getting Fallout, Gears, and Halo on Nintendo Switch 2 and the crowd goes wild? This is the way that Nintendo can revitalize their year after starting so slow and not wanting to talk about anything themselves or let anyone else talk. Maybe this would be something that would just absolutely have everybody breathing easy, knowing we're getting Gears, Halo, hopefully Forza, and plenty more. And Nintendo could use plenty more because currently they have achieved their lowest rank ever in the annual Metacritic publisher rankings. This is the 15th year of Metacritic doing this, and it's the lowest that Nintendo has ever been. Nintendo's in 22nd place, which is frankly quite bad. All right, this is based on review score only, and we know Nintendo had a few decent games last year. Mario Party Jamboree did pretty well, Thousand Year Door reviewed well, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, but they didn't have a ton of titles, and they had some stinkers out there as well. Games like Endless Ocean, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and Another Code did not review all that hotly. Publishers that are above Nintendo: Ion Games, Red Art Games, Digital Eclipse, Plug-in Digital, Kepler Interactive, Raw Fury, Gamera Games, Focus Entertainment, Axis Games. A bit silly. The number one publisher is Sega, followed by Capcom. Sony is 4, Microsoft is 9, Nintendo is 22. Now, I think Capcom being up there makes perfect sense. Their quality has been absolutely absurd as of late. This decade has just delivered in every way for Capcom, their major franchises, and their new twists. Sega, though, that's a surprising one. Sega doing good work, making Sonic actually shine pretty darn good. They've had just some really good years with Metaphor ReFantazio coming out and delivering them a nice high score. They also had a game such as Shin Megami Tensei 5, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Demon Slayer, and more getting really high review scores in the last 12 months. Capcom, of course, getting Monster Hunter Wilds, Dragon's Dogma 2. Basically, to be in the top 10, you needed about an 80% average, and to be in the top 20, about a 75% average. Nintendo was right on the cusp at 22, with a 76 as the average Metascore for the last year. At the end of the day, this doesn't mean a whole bunch, because a game publisher is worth way more, and their game's amount of fun is worth way more than what Metacritic says that they score at. But it is interesting that Nintendo has never been this low. I think it does show that they are slow rolling into the Switch 2 launch in a way that I've talked about, but now you have more physical evidence in case you think I'm a crazy person. I don't like to just doom and gloom with Nintendo, and I do think the future is insanely bright. I actually think that they'll rebound phenomenally well. I'm very hopeful. I just have a bit of a fear because I think there's so much weight being placed on this Direct, and anytime there's been too much weight placed on one individual performance, one individual presentation, it seems to leave fans wanting. It seems to leave me wishing there was more. So I don't like the all eggs in one basket strategy, but I do have total faith that Nintendo will kill it on the third-party front, acquiring many of these Microsoft titles we've talked about, getting other games from Ubisoft, Capcom, Sega, and these publishers that are currently succeeding very well. Top that off with Nintendo's big titles, their mainstay games, franchises that they've been saving and holding off until the Switch 2 is ready to launch, and we're definitely due for a humongous leap forward in 2025. While Nintendo is sitting at 22 now, I can't see them any lower than 4 next year, and we'll check back in a year's time to see if I'm accurate. Nintendo can take the crown. They really could. A year where they see Mario Kart 9, Super Mario New 3D, and maybe a few smaller games that end up hitting well. Metroid Prime 4 could be a critical darling and maybe even a good sales darling. This would give them the same type of ammunition as we're seeing out of Capcom and Sega. So come next year, Nintendo easily top 4 is my prediction. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you going to be picking up Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 in July? Good Switch launch game? Good Switch launch window game? I think it could be. And that Gears collection, that would be insanely cool to be playing in the first few months of Switch, and would just show, wow, like, the times are changing. And the times are changing. We're getting close to the April 2nd Direct. Can't wait to share and all the fun and enthusiasm with you. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there, everybody. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.